once again for joining us here at smallcapvoice.com. This is our second installment of a video interview with CoroWare Incorporated. The company's ticker symbol is COWI. You might remember we did a question and answer session with the chairman and CEO of CoroWare, and that's Lloyd Spencer. We're welcoming Lloyd back today. Lloyd, how are you?
I'm really well. Thank you, Stuart.
Well, thank you so much for your time again today. I see you've brought some friends with you today, and I assume this has to do with the news that was issued. Listeners, here's that headline. The company announced that Carbon Meta Research, a wholly owned subsidiary of CoroWare that is based in Oxford, well, they have expanded their board. So, Lloyd, I'll let you do the introductions today.
You betcha. Well, so if you remember last time, we talked about how CoroWare, the focus of the company is really on this circular economy approach to looking at recycling plastics and doing something creative with it. And when I first met with Peter Edwards over at University of Oxford, that's where I met Tiancun Xiao. And Dr. Xiao has a background in this area of using catalysts to process different kinds of organic compounds, all the way from catalysis of any kind of hydrocarbons. So Dr. Xiao from University of Oxford was clearly one of the people we wanted to bring on board to help build this company. And Carbon Meta Research is that first company that we are launching in the UK. So that's how we're going to be working with the University of Oxford to take advantage of the great work that Dr. Xiao did and Dr. Edwards. The other person here is Mohammed Khalil. And he and I met years ago through a group called New Forge. And this group was, I'll call it a group of very technology-oriented and forward-looking individuals. And what really struck me about Mohammed was his passion for working on technologies related to the environment. And this was a perfect fit between our visions of coming up with solutions, technologies to solve many of the problems that are out there. But we're first focusing on plastics and trying to find a way to recycle them for real, not putting them into landfills, but doing something positive with them. So that being said, Mohammed Khalil and Tiancun Xiao were the ideal board of director members for Carbon Meta Research.
Well, listeners, that news came out October 26th. You can use the ticker symbol COWI to learn more about both men. But since we have you here today, let's start with you, Dr. Xiao. If you would, tell us a little bit about your work, some of the patents that have been referenced in the news, as well as on the Carbon Meta Research CMR, as I'll be referring to it throughout this interview, website, and I'll give that out. That's carbonmetaresearch.co.uk. But Dr. Xiao, let's learn about you and your work there.
Thank you, Stuart. So it's a great honor to join the board of CWL, and this indeed based on the more than 10-year research in chemistry department, Oxford University, by Professor Peter Edwards, the fellow of Royal Society, and me, and all the team. So it's really based on catalysis when we start, say, because plastic waste certainly is a big crisis, so we know that. And now, not only like marine life everywhere, even the food chain got lots of problems. So then we say we should do something. So through our, in the past, people say, okay, like incineration or landfill, but landfill already not allowed anymore. Incineration is still the biggest way to deal with, but the incineration always goes like also Dixon, very carcinogenic material. So Peter and I always say, can we have a better way to use that? And the chemist, which I founded Oxford Catalytic like 16 years ago. So we float the company, and then we come to US, but take over velocities. So when I back to Oxford University, like 2010, we start think maybe we need a more friendly way to take out hydrogen from like a hydrocarbon. Plastic is hydrocarbon, so clearly it's a hydrogen source, but also it's a waste. We say, can we make use get more valuable without emitting greenhouse gas CO2? That's where we start. So we are very lucky. We developed a series catalyst, which can either selectively break carbon hydrogen bond to get hydrogen and leave the carbon there for different use, or we can break carbon-carbon bond and without breaking carbon-hydrogen bond to get monomers. So this is a platform technology. So we started with plastic waste. Ideally, waste is a very complex system, but we can do like not only pure waste, like mechanical recycling. People need pure waste, say pre-treatment, wash away the contaminants. In our CAT system, we don't need pre-treatment. Any waste together with contaminants can go to our catalyst. With microwave irradiation, we can either get hydrogen or we can get like a monomer from this one. This could be a breakthrough, a big platform for all the hydrocarbon like utilization without CO2 emission for future sustainable development. Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, let's also meet now Mohammed Khalil. Mohammed, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Stuart? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking, and welcome to this interview. Now, we just heard from Dr. Xiao about the business, about the technology. Let's jump in a little deeper about the applications then, and then potential customer base. Who are you going to reach out to? And then I'll have some follow-up questions after that.
Certainly. In terms of customer base, we'll be talking to a lot of oil and gas companies, with the construction. These are our potential customers. I'm currently talking to you from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and we're meeting with potential global customers. Customers or partners, we're talking to the possibility of applying such technology to address those problems and the hydrogen and the carbon sector that they're looking to resolve. Middle East, other clients globally have the same problems everywhere we go. So we are addressing those issues. So we're talking to potential construction companies, manufacturers, oil and gas sector, and there's the companies we're talking to right now.
So Mohammed is the managing director of Carbon Meta Research, and Dr. Tiancun Xiao is the chief technical officer. Lloyd, as we stand here today, you've told us a little bit about the relationship and partnership between Oxford and Cowie and Carbon Meta, so the union of the three. So tell us where we stand here in the end of 2021 as we enter in the month of November with this partnership, and how do you see it growing in 2022?
Yeah. So CoroWare signed an agreement with University of Oxford, and we have exclusive patent relationships in the United States and in Europe. So the vision was to create a research group in the UK, which is Carbon Meta Research. And there's two parts of the business that you really are going to see. One is I will call them the Gazinta side of the business, which is all the plastic and all the waste. There are so many companies out there that want to do something with plastic waste. They just don't know what to do. And so those are the folks we're talking with right now. Mohammed's quite right about oil and gas. I've actually had a couple of conversations with companies that have assets also in North Africa and in the United States and in Canada. And the technology that Tiancun and Dr. Edwards and Dr. Xiao put together can actually be used for even extracting other compounds as well, some metallic compounds, for example. So it has broad application. So on the the material going in. We can see some raw materials, plastic, especially the plastic waste we're focused on. On the output side, we're talking about carbon nanotubes. We're talking about, I'll call it amorphous carbon, which is like graphite, for example. And the customers for that are going to be the electric vehicle battery companies, as an example, the tire companies. And Mohammed, maybe we can talk about that in terms of those customers.
Indeed. We are going to be starting talking to some of these customers primarily in Europe, and we have the same in the Middle East and North Africa.
Yep.
These are customers that already have current challenges, and we believe our solution or technology will address those issues and help them solve their problems. And this is the more we talk to people, the more we receive good feedback and excitement to talk to us about this. And hence our meetings on the Middle East are primarily how can we fit our technology towards their challenges.
Exactly. And, I've had some interesting conversations with some folks who are in the oil and gas space, and they have been looking at ways that they can, use some of their assets and to do the right thing. They know that, when burning off, carbon-based, for example, even burning plastics, you're generating CO2. They know it's not ideal. And this turns out to be something that they can not only solve their problem of getting plastics dealt with responsibly, but also that there's also a profit motive in this as well. So I think what we're doing here is we're finding a good way to bring a technology to not only solve an ethical problem that we have on our planet, but also a way to profitably do it. And that's a difficult thing to do. And I think we have a very unique set of technologies that Tiancun and his team have been working on for quite a few years.
Well, Dr. Xiao, let's talk about that then. And Lloyd, I appreciate you pointing that out, as well as making a green in the sense of a dollar. You're also making the earth green, so a societal good, which is if there's a better investment in the market, I don't know, because those types of companies where we're doing something good for the environment or society as a whole, but also earning a profit, well, that's the kind of investments we should all seek out. So let's talk to you again, Dr. Xiao. So where is the company, you described the process, but where is the company at in the process of converting waste into hydrogen or CNTs, carbon nanotubes? Where are you at in that process?
So if you I think I should give a bit more background information. So when we filed patent and published a paper last December, I think CoroWare law is very sharp. And we do have lots of media like Daily Mail, Financial Times, all report this bring a new solution for plastic waste, they called planet carcinogenic material, because plastic is getting. So we do have lots of content, not from US, from Europe, even from Spain, from France, Germany. In the end, we went with Lloyd because Lloyd has done a lot of background survey, and also, let's take example an ocean plastic, which Lloyd first talked to us. Actually, we told them long time ago. So ocean plastic, they collect all the plastic from the bottom, then they can't either say if they incinerate or they just landfill. That's not allowed anymore because it will go to sea again. So then Lloyd said, if we use this way to make hydrogen and get the carbon material, either carbon black or carbon nanotube, CNT, then that will be without CO2 emission and a green way. So that attracts university. University in the end decide to give exclusive license to Lloyd, to CoroWare, to explore this one. So it's microwave assistant catalytic process. In lab scale, we have done gram scale, and we even can done like a kilogram scale very soon if we got the right equipment which already start design.
Exactly.
We think like the 3 stage. First, for waste disposal, we do have waste management companies, and which, like ocean plastics, they all need a straightforward answer without considering, say, no CO2 emission, plastic safe disposal without second contamination. So this is the ideal way. If we go further, let's say like hydrocarbons or like, let's say crude oil in Middle East, if not allowed to burn anymore, that's a hydrogen resource, but they don't have water, then this is a way to extract hydrogen from, let's say from borehole of oil field or from natural gas field. So that great potential will create like sustainability without CO2 emission. So we said it's a ground like destructive technology for the future for clean and also for circular economy.
Yeah, disruptive technologies, circular economy, these are terms that investors are seeking out when they read about a company. Mohammed, we talked about where you're at currently, and we heard Dr. Xiao just talk about the plastics company. Let's take a little deeper dive then, since you're currently in the Middle East. Let's take a little deeper dive into the oil and gas companies and exactly how this technology will then help them as well.
Well, I mean, most of these companies are looking for entirely in the Gulf, and just even the large companies looking for alternative solutions for hydrogen generation. And we believe some of the companies that we're talking to here, they've heard about our technology and they want to talk to us about how we can help them basically address this. It is in the early stage for a lot of the companies. They're looking for solutions, ideas, but we believe we have the technology. It's been in the press out of Oxford and Tiancun teams. So people are talking to us, how can we bring this technology here locally in the Middle East and see how we can penetrate on starting a scale-up project in the Middle East. That's where we're at.
Well, very good. Lloyd, let's wrap up this first interview with your board like this. We've heard about the technology. We've heard about the potential good it does for our environment, the potential good it does as an investor in the company, ticker symbol COWI. You are not only the chairman and CEO of CoroWare, but you are also the chairman of the board for Carbon Meta Research. We started this interview with the relationship of the three. We're now wrapping up the year 2021. Any immediate contracts you can speak of in 2022, and obviously the direction of the company under your leadership in 2022 will look like what?
So as we mentioned, even in the Reg A document, step one is we're bringing in investment now to go ahead and start to purchase the prototype level equipment. That's step one. Mohammed, Tiancun are both working on getting premises to go put our equipment into. And it looks like we have some very interesting ways to do some sharing with other companies that are not exactly in this field, but in a similar field of inorganic chemistry. So we're looking at ways to use our pennies wisely and to spend them very carefully. After they get that first phase where the prototype equipment is being operated so we can test up one layer of scale, at that point, we will be working with some customers who have already come to us with some problems. We may even be looking at some consulting contracts with some specific companies who have a problem, which is they have carbon-based, I'll call it organic waste. They would like to investigate, is it possible to use this technology? And because we have access to the exclusive access to the patents, we can actually sub-license to companies as well. So those companies that want to say, well, we would like to use this technology, we would like to work with you, we can actually sub-license to those companies in very specific areas. At the same time as we're looking at building up our basic business of taking waste plastic and processing that and developing the technology to scale it up. So you should expect to see some announcements that are along the lines of relationships where we're going to be taking in the waste, the plastics, for example, from some organizations. And as well, I think you'll see some interesting announcements coming out as it relates to how we are going to be taking the output of that, the nanotubes, the hydrogen, the graphite and amorphous carbon that's coming out of this, and how companies can use that in their products. Like I mentioned, electric vehicle batteries, like as in the tires. A number of tire companies are looking at using carbon nanotubes to strengthen tires. And even in construction, they're looking at incorporating carbon nanotubes into materials to strengthen as well. So those are the kind of things you'll be seeing in the coming, I'd say, 3 to 6 months.
Well, so there are a myriad of applications as well as target markets, which then mean target revenue streams coming into the company. In a microcap company, investors, what are we looking for? At this point in the growth cycle for the company, you are banking on the management and the team they surround them with. And it's, I know, an invaluable asset to get to put a face to the names, hear them speak about their background, where the company's headed to. So I'd like to thank Lloyd Spencer today, Dr. Tiancun Xiao, and of course, Mohammed Khalil for their time here today. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your insights today. We look forward to doing another round robin interview with all three of you. And Lloyd, bring more friends if you'd like to. We'll have
I shall do.
Another great interview very soon.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in today.